So, addendum time. So, normally, for my era of collecting and appreciation of Lego sets, I go to Lugnet because that's basically where my entire love of Lego resides for sets that were released and blah 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 blah. It's I won't say it's a whole huge story, but Lugnet is usually my first stop for finding sets that I want to talk about or build, because Lugnet links to Piron, and and so I can get my building instructions from there, and the part counts and all that stuff. PISC SL, whatever, and I didn't understand all that, but Piron and the other place. And so what I do is I go to Lugnet, I go up to the upper right hand corner, I type in classic space, and I look for sets. And then I just click on the link that's a classic space, and it goes through all the classic space sets. Now, I'm going to talk about this when I get up to 6820s, but the classic space does not seem to encompass a lot of later themes like UFO. So now what I'm doing is I'm just going to set reference and Lugnet, and I'm just typing in the set number 6801, because this one, 6802, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But when I was looking at the 6810s through 19s and 6820s through 29s, I realized that you just type in a set number because classic space doesn't encompass all the classic space sets if you want to include everything from 1978 to 1999. Such as this one. This is set number 6800, so it would be right there on the end. So yeah, turn it. So now this was the last one. This is 1997, so this is right before they stopped producing space sets because they bought the Star Wars franchise, and I guess, and then here's the rumors, don't quote me, don't put it in your book saying it's definitive, but I think when they signed the contract with Lucas, they could not produce their own space series for a long time. It had to be pure Star Wars, and I guess they didn't want the conflict of interest between Star Wars sets versus classic space sets. Like that would ever happen. People would buy both. But whatever, I'm not a legal analyst and lawyer anyway. So this is 1997, so this will be the last one in the 6800 to 6809 released. This thing comes in with a whopping 19 parts, so it's one of the fewest parts in the entire range of 10 now. It's the last one produced in the, or released under the 6800 through 6809. It's also the lowest number. So this is 6800, the last one. This is 6801, the first one. I guess they had to shoehorn it in somewhere and they used a number that they hadn't previously used. Now, this is a UFO set, and I talked about UFO in my previous video because I do say that there are, in the later series, there's one set that just was exceptional, and I already talked about the Warp Wing Fighter and how much I loved it. This one, I did not buy. I can guarantee I did not buy this set off the store shelves. This I just built out of my collection. I'm sure I got it during one of my used lots because, again, I would say now safely saying 80% of my entire collection is secondhand used lots slash pick-a-brick slash that which not be named, but I think we can name it lug bulk. But it's not sets anymore. Sets store-bought. 80% of my inventory in my room is secondhand. As I say, the trips to Selkirk, the ad in the newspaper, eBays, and just acquiring just lots through friends and stuff. Again, back in high school for beer money. I actually bought. I would say I bought a lot of classic space sets back in the day because, again, there wasn't people selling them secondhand. But as time went on, especially, as I said, 1997, I was in the complete dark ages for buying Lego. I never had a dark ages for playing with Lego. I mentioned that a few times. But I didn't buy any Lego in the 90s. I'm going to preface that. I bought very little Lego in the 90s because I had everything I wanted. I had a lot of classic space, secondhand markets. Yeah, so let's preface that again. So I didn't buy Lego off the shelf. In the 90s, I bought a lot of secondhand Lego. So I can guarantee I did not buy this set off the shelf. And I wouldn't buy this set off the shelf. This has had little appeal to me back in the day. It was classic space with the 918s and the 924s and 928s and all that stuff, and the monorail. The Warp Wing Fighter appealed to me, but I didn't buy it back then. But I'm looking at this now, and yes, it's not as, you know, cool looking as, I mean, I don't like this. I did not love the set, but it has a lot more coolness to it, the coolness factor to it. But again, they use a radar dish, just like they did in the supply base. They used a radar dish for probably a hovering mechanism. Kind of looked like the, not the Nostradamus. I'm forgetting the ship in the Matrix. Oh, somebody's going to tell me in comments. I'm going to feel stupid for forgetting it. So Morpheus' ship. So some sort of repeller using that dish so to hover along the ground. The minifigs in the UFO were so cool, and they're so printed. It's like they just said, hey, we can print everything. I mean, there's more printing now that people get printing on the arms now, on the back, all around the feet. But the UFO, I think, is when they really started just, hey, let's print as much as this front surface as we possibly can, including the face. Like the face is, what's that? 1/3. 1/3 of the face is printed. So it's almost half. Almost half of the face is printed. It goes from there to there. The full torso print, almost a full front leg print. Even the belt is printed. I know they did that in other series too, but it's just, wow. Knock yourself out, Lego. Again, because I did not acquire these things, I'm amazed that I actually have the minifigs. So I wanted to finish that as an addendum because now all 10 are there. 6800 to 6809. Get him in the picture. And now I'm going to go to 6810 up. And if you actually type in 6810 in the LugNet set reference, it doesn't show up under classic space because 6810 is deleted. Well, that should be classic space, but we'll talk about that when we get to 6810s. And I've already started that. Where did I put them? 6810. So we will get there momentarily. I have to build the rest of them. So, hey, here's a end of episode. Hey, it's coming next episode. 6810s. This is me having fun. So there you go. That's my addendum. Keep it short, sweet, to the point. 6800s to 6809. Overall, some weak points, but nothing to hate. And some really good points. And considering the price point on these things, we're very, very, like let's just look at 6800. It doesn't have a price listed in off the shelf, but I think 6801 does. So you walk in with a few dollars in your hand. Oh, that doesn't have a price either. I guess LugNet doesn't have a lot of prices for these things. People, of course, LugNet was community sponsored, so what happened is that a lot of people didn't provide information that it could use. But these things were under $5 when you walked into a store back in the day. And you say, hey, I got $5. I can buy one of these things. And if you had $20, you can buy 4 of them. And then you would have like a nice bunch of vehicles and or ships for a mini layout in your house. And that's well, get this guy to the picture. We're not talking about him yet. That's okay. But now we're going to get into the bigger sets. So I will talk to you then, and everybody stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.